Hello and welcome to the fourth quarter Royal Palm Market Report. I'm Rochelle Cavalier, bringing you the very best of Boca Raton luxury real estate. As your friendly neighborhood resident realtor, I am delighted to bring you a specific market report about Royal Palm. Those of you who are familiar with the Douglas Elliman market reports, you know that we do these for all of the top markets where we have offices. So Manhattan, Connecticut, Long Island, Los Angeles, Miami, and of course Boca Raton. What you might not realize is that there is a completely separate report that Douglas Elliman puts together, especially for the Pink Palm group at Douglas Elliman, and it is all about Royal Palm. So if you happen to live in Royal Palm, you'll be getting this in your mailbox every quarter from me. If you do not live in the neighborhood, I don't know, maybe you're curious about the Royal Palm market or you would like to live in this neighborhood, shoot me, an email, a text, put something in the comments, send a smoke signal, call me. I'm super Googleable, Rochelle Cavalier, Pink Palm, and I'd be happy to put you on the mailing list and make sure that you get those market reports. So, without further ado, I am delighted to present to you the fourth quarter market report for Royal Palm Yacht and Country Club. So, the statistics in Royal Palm are always interesting, and it's something that our neighbors tend to follow really, really closely. I mean, it's almost like the stock market. Can we put some ticker tape at the bottom here? I think that's a wonderful idea. Let's have price per square foot and average days on market, and people love these statistics. That's really why I'm bringing you this report. So without further ado, I can report to you that year over year, we have seen prices per square foot increase 33.9%. And our pace, that means the months of supply, it's down 3.6 months. So that means that you're generally going to sell 3.6 months faster than you would have this time last year. I'm going to put some statistics right up here that are everything that I'm talking about. So if we could in post, let's put prices, pace, right there, just as I see them, just as you'll see them on the report that you'll get at home. So we have our prices at 33.9%. That's an up arrow. The pace is down. Sales are also down by 10%. So that is the number of closed sales. More about that momentarily. The inventory, interestingly, is down 25.4%. So as of this morning, we had 57 properties listed for sale here in Royal Palm. What's kind of normal over the past 10 years or so since I've been working in the area is that we are somewhere between 50 and at the height we were into the 70s, which made me a little nervous, to be honest, as a person who owns a home here. Interestingly, a lot of that inventory sort of cycled itself out, not so much by selling, but more as a result of dead inventory just finally getting canceled or expiring. When sellers aren't serious, things just tend to sit, and then they eventually come off market in other ways. So inventory is also down 25.4%. Our marketing time is, the average days on market is up by 60 days, and our negotiability is pretty flat. It's about the same as it was last year. It's less than 1% difference. Our average sales price in Royal Palm this quarter was $6,201,000, and that is an increase of 40% quarter over quarter. So in third quarter, it was 4.4 million, and in Q4, it's 6.2 million. So does that mean that my house is now worth 40% more? No, it does not. So one of the things about statistics is that they can be manipulated. You can sort of move them around and try to make a case for whatever you want to make. It's really important to understand where the data comes from. This particular report is done in partnership with Miller Samuel Appraisals. That is a third party, and it is all completely vetted. And then there are some sort of disclaimers about where did the data come from and how were things calculated. What's important to note about this 40% increase, woohoo, we're all rich, is that it's very much based on what types of homes have sold in the last couple of quarters. So when looking at statistics, always keep in mind that there are caveats. And if you're not sure how this applies to your situation, call someone you trust. Call your trusted advisor, me, I would be happy to talk to you, or of course someone else you know who really understands the market, understands the statistics, and can explain to you what the ramifications are in your personal situation. Okay, get off the soapbox for a sec. Our average price per square foot this quarter was $967. That's 31% over last quarter, which was $736, and 33% higher than last year this time at $722. Again, it goes back to what types of properties have sold. Some more general statistics that are maybe a little more useful across the board would be our listing inventory today is 53 homes. So that was at the time of this report, which would have been 12/31. As of this morning, as I mentioned, we're at 57. It's now mid-January, by the time we get all the data compiled. Compare that to this time last year when we had 71 homes on the market in Royal Palm. This is definitely a step in the right direction. Of course, we do have some dead inventory, so we share with you what's called the months of supply. What that means is at our current selling pace, how many months of supply or inventory do we have of homes in Royal Palm? So currently we have 17.7 months of supply, and this time last year we were at how can I be negative months? That's really funny. All right, so this time last year we were at 21.3 months of inventory. We do break down our market report in Royal Palm to waterfront, golf, and interior. These are definitely property designations that if you live in the neighborhood, you are familiar with. The waterfront matrix shows us that this quarter, the average sales price of a waterfront home is $10,132,000. And that is an increase from last quarter of 32% and an increase from this time last year of 67%. So this time last year, our average selling price was $6 million. Again, does that mean that our homes are now worth 70% more than they were last year? No. It means that we have had more new construction sales in the higher price points of waterfront markets in the most recent 2 quarters versus those same quarters last year. Some useful statistics, though, are that our listing discount last year this time was 6.7% and this year is 7.7%. So in general, on waterfront homes, you're looking at 6 to 7% negotiability. It's an important thing to note if you are buying or selling so that you can set your expectations. On golf, we have a super classic example of this whole, does this percentage up, down mean something? And in golf, we also have a little bit of an anomaly. So in fourth quarter, our average sales price is $1.27 million, which, what? $1.27 million? That's lower than an interior teardown. Wow, how is that possible? Well, I will tell you, we have had the most recent golf front sales being, I'm going to call them, I don't know, it doesn't sound nice, but probably like in the bottom 5% least desirable home site locations. So the $1,270,000 sale was a house that needs to be torn down on Camino Real. We're talking the corner of Camino and Federal, very busy intersection facing Camino Real, and it had some issues. It was also, like a little bit of a distressed situation, so it went lower than even market for something like that would. So we hope that they have a nice happening with that and enjoy good upside. But that was the only sale in the last quarter. Compare that to this time last year when the average sales price was over $6.5 million when we had some of the new build cycle through. Our number of sales, again, was just 1 on golf front homes. So the statistic is, a little bit hard to rely on. So your own personal situation probably doesn't apply. Interior matrix, our average selling price was $3.5 million compared to this time last year, $2.7 million. And one thing that is a little bit interesting is the juxtaposition between the sales by share type. So right over here, you'll see pie charts. I love pie charts. I also kind of like pie. The new construction sales were 44% of the entire market sales, and 56% were existing. This is very interesting in terms of statistics. If you know, Royal Palm is, nearly 700 homes, and those that are new builds, they're limited. So this tells me that newer homes are selling as a larger proportion of the overall market. Now, taking a look at the sales shares by location, 44% of the sales this quarter were on waterfront. That is significant because waterfront homes do not represent the majority of the home sites in Royal Palm. Only 11% were golf, which is about right. Our most limited home type is golf front, and 44% were interior lot homes. If we take a look at the sales share numbers, let's break it down by price. In the under $3 million price range, the current quarter, we had 22% of the total sales being that of a house under $3 million. The $3 to $5 million range, where a lot of people are shopping, but there's not a ton of good inventory, is at 33.33%. And those homes listed at $5 million and above account for the largest portion of our sales at 44%. Now, last quarter, they made up 50% of the sales. So really in Royal Palm right now, we are seeing the most activity in the higher price points. Moving on to our new construction matrix, we have an average sales price of $10,362,000. That is an increase of 42.9% over last quarter. What accounts for that is the recent selling activity of more waterfront new construction homes versus in the previous quarters, many of the new construction options that had cycled being interior and golf front homes. For the existing homes matrix, we have an average sales price of $2.8 million. And last quarter, that was 3.4, and last year that was 4.5. So really that's going to reflect that last year we had a number of original build era homes on the waterfront that sold. And then in the last quarter, we had a number of interior sales, and this quarter, more of a healthy mix. So if you know me, you know how much I could just geek out on the statistics all day long and go on and on. I am tempted, but I do want to keep this short. So if you have questions about the statistics that I've mentioned, or I don't know, maybe you'd like to take a look at the report, it's going to be, there's a link in my bio if you're seeing this on Instagram. We're going to have the link in the comments if you're seeing this on YouTube. And if you, I don't know, you're just seeing this on your friend's phone, Google me and give me a call. I'd be happy to send it over to you. If you live in my market area, you'll receive it in the mail. Thanks so much for watching the Royal Palm Market Report for the fourth quarter 2019. I'm Rochelle Cavalier, and I really appreciate you watching. If you like what you saw, I'm going to invite you to click these buttons down here on YouTube. It says subscribe, and there's this little bell. If you click those, nothing magic happens. No confetti's going to fly out of your screen, but you will receive a notification each and every time I upload a new video. We do market reports, property tours, homeowners association meetings, and we bring you things we think you're going to like. If you have a few minutes, stick around and watch a couple more videos. Thanks again for watching. I'm Rochelle Cavalier, bringing you the very best of Boca Raton luxury real estate.